Hello, everybody, and welcome to What We Are Into This Week. This is the show where Roxy and I discuss the things we are into that we weren't able to fit into the main show. This week, we're talking about a bunch of stuff, including Miss Marvel, Only Murders in the Building, and The Bear. Those are the things. Roxy, let's get into it. Let's before we do any of that, the patrons, if there's our producer patrons here, get to decide what I watch once a month for what we're into. You can watch it with me, and you all voted this time for Bridgerton. So I watched the first 2 episodes of Bridgerton, and I get it. It's obviously I feel like it's safe to say I'm not the target demographic for this show, but like I totally get the appeal. There's beautiful people. You want to see them make out, and the show just keeps finding creative ways of keeping them from making out with each other.
So good. It's so sexy. It's so fun. And it's so not just white, which is great.
Yeah, I was a little. So when I saw the hopefully I phrase this well. Like when I first saw the show, I was like, cool, diverse casting, cool, but like a little bit like because you're still putting these people in a fundamentally aristocratic white situation, you know what I mean? But it's like when I was watching it, I was like, oh no, thank God for the diverse casting. Otherwise, this show would be excruciatingly white.
Excruciating, yeah, totally.
Like,
Shonda was just like, no, I get what did happen, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah, don't do that. And I love like the Queen is great. Like in the second episode, we get her doing blow, awesome. Like it just fuck it, so great. And it's also kind of like. It feels like help me if I'm on if I'm on the right page here. It feels like Hunger Games, but like instead of fighting each other to death, it's getting married, right? That's apparently like getting married in this society is its own like competitive sport essentially.
Yeah, it's like Survivor. But with marriage.
With marriage. And of course, so the 2 leads, we got Reggie Jean Page, and I looked him up and I didn't just bring up the IMDb, which is what I should have done.
No, Reggie Jean Page is so fucking hot. Oh my God.
Well, and when you see
what a hit season 2 takes without him.
Well, and I think I just saw a thing where he's like, yeah, if they want to recast my role, they can. It's like, oh, did he not like being on the show? Did he not just
he just got so much heat for not coming back. He's like,
fuck it. I get it. I feel like the people that made the show should be kicking themselves for not signing him on. Like, no, you're a lead from now. Who cares what happened in the books? I know it's based on books or whatever. You're our guy. You're staying around. But like, having not watched the show, obviously he's a very handsome boy. Having seen him in the show, it's like, oh yeah, this guy's got Smolder on lock. Like suddenly I got when people are like, he should be James Bond. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I totally see it. He'd be great at it.
So hot. He's so hot. He's so fucking hot. However, season 2 brings in, or he was already there in season 1, but focuses on a guy who's also so fucking hot too. And I'm like, where are these men on my dating experience?
Well, and not for nothing, Phoebe Denever is also really great. She's the main lady in this one. And something I like about, at least in the first 2 episodes, I don't know if they continue it, they keep setting up situations where the guy normally would swoop in and save the day, but then the women do it. So that creep is hitting on Daphne, and they get a lot of mileage out of that creep. And she slugs him. Like it looks like Reggie Jean Page is going to come in and save the day, and then she punches him. I'm like, great. And then in the second episode, like he sets up a situation where she kind of has to marry him, and then the mom comes in and they create like this gossip circuit to like undo him. I'm like, awesome. Like I like that they keep subverting that expectation. And Roxy, maybe you'll be able to help me with this, because I talked about this when I was watching it for the patrons. It's like, it's weird to me because like obviously I feels like a lot of women are into this show, and on the one hand I get it because of the romance and the frothiness, but also it feels like, hey, you want to watch a time where you were basically property, and it's like, why? It feels like when women...
It makes us feel better about where we are now, even though where we are now is so fucking crazy.
It's not great. It feels like when women watch like murder shows where like, this is how the husband murdered the wife. It's like, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you doing this?
It's interesting television. It's entertaining.
Yeah. Because it's like...
I'm glad you like this though, DJ.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot of very talented people. It moves at a very brisk pace. It's sexy, it's lovely, and I think you and I were talking about it over the weekend. If I wanted to be nitpicky, I could make a point that it's like there's no tension with whether they're going to end up together. Of course, they're going to end up together, but you don't feel that for one because the sexual tension there's heaps of it, so that makes up for any tension that's there. And also it's the same way that like I compared it to watching The Boys. It's like at the beginning of season 3 they're like Homelander and Soldier Boy will fight. That is a thing. That's the marquee ticket. That's what you're signing up for. And so there's that payoff of wanting to see how we get there and see that happen. Similar with like I was thinking about like Civil War. You go into Civil War, Cap and Iron Man are going to throw down. That's not a question. You know what I mean? That's why you're going. So it's like it doesn't matter that I know these two are going to hook up. I want to see it. So that's the payoff to the thing that I want to see. Like
yeah. But that's kind not to bring up Obi-Wan again, but that's kind of how I felt about Obi-Wan, where it didn't matter that I know who makes it out alive or what's going to happen. It matters that I want to see it.
I understand. I will say I feel like Obi-Wan went out of its way to remove any sort of tension. like every time. Anyway, but we don't need to get on that.
Sexual tension.
Boom. So wait, is the main guy in season 2 the brother in this season?
Yeah.
The brother is a hard character to like in these first couple episodes.
That's what's crazy, DJ, is that like in season 1, you're like, oh, I don't like this guy. So why the fuck would we focus on him in season 2?
Yeah.
In season 2, this is how you know this actor is so talented. He was like, no, you're going to fall in love with me. Just you fucking wait. And I did. And I was like, oh my God, how'd you do that? You're kind of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
But in season 2,
well, it makes sense because you can tell even in those first 2 episodes, like, oh, this guy's really talented because he's doing a good job of making me not like this dude. But positioning it in a way that like I understand the bit, but it's just like fuck this guy. Like he's such a pain in the ass. Like just get out of the way, man. Like but yeah. So dig it. I don't know that I'm going to keep watching it, but like I totally get the appeal. I get why it was a hit. I get why people are into it. Like there's in that second episode, Reggie Jean Page is like boxing with his buddy, like whatever. And I'm like, yeah, of course this became like the biggest thing, especially during the pandemic. Of course it did. Who doesn't want to see this guy shirtless doing anything? Come on.
Totally. Yeah.
So thank you all for voting on that. Roxy, a couple things that were...
Thank you all. Thank you, all of you.
A couple things that were recommended were hacks. One of the things was recommended that put on the voting block was hacks. So I think I'll put that on there for people to vote on.
What else?
Euphoria's been lingering on there.
Okay.
I had the first season 4 of Stranger Things, the first couple episodes, but now that I watched the finale, I don't know that holds the same cachet.
Okay.
Open to suggestions.
Might I suggest the summer I turned pretty?
Perfect. Let me put that. I'm keeping a little doc for myself because I will forget. The summer I turned pretty. Yeah, do it. Because again, Bridgerton's not the type of thing I would seek out on my own. So this is a good opportunity for me to see different things and how they do.
Another suggestion, sir.
Yes.
We've only had one episode of The Bachelorette this season so far.
Roxy, I have questions.
The next one is on Monday.
Okay.
So if you make him do the first 2, then he will be caught up.
Do you know what season this is? Does that even matter with the show?
4098.
Okay. No, we're gonna get to my questions about The Bachelorette. But before we do that, let's talk about Miss Marvel season finale. This is episode 6. No normal. The synopsis is back in Jersey, Kamala finds Kamran and protects him from damage control, who will stop at nothing to take him in. And this is where the show returns back, possibly too late, to the plot lines I cared about.
Yeah. You and I are so on the same page about this. This show got really big really quick, and I liked it when it was not as big.
Mm-hmm.
And then we returned to the place that I wanted to be with the plot lines I wanted to be. However, it was fucking huge.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. Concentrate on the things that I want. I don't want to say anything negative about the show because I'm super stoked that the show exists, and I really like Iman is like fucking crushing it.
So good. Incredible.
She's just awesome and so lovable. So like the greatest part about the show is that I love the character Miss Marvel, and that's what's like lives on. So that's great. But like I think that this show could have been so beautifully simple, and it could have been like this really great, fun coming of age story. And I thought based on the first two episodes, that is exactly what it was going to be. And then that's not what it was. So I feel like they sold me a false bill of goods a little bit.
Similar. And like you, I want to be careful. I'm critical because I actually liked what they tried talking about. I'm totally blanking. What did they call it?
Cameron?
The separation from India, from Pakistan. There's a term for it. When that border was defined, and they said it a bunch of times, and I'm being dumb right now and I can't remember. But partition. The partition. I think, especially as an American who's not terribly familiar with that, I appreciate the instinct of like telling that story, but I think it derailed the story that they were telling. And I think you could have touched on a lot of the similar themes without doing that. Like, I feel like especially having just watched Bridgerton, I feel like the dramatic stakes of this show should have been Bruno or Kamran. Is Kamala going to end up with Bruno or Kamran? And that would have been perfect for what this show was doing. Like, I didn't need like alternate dimension people trying to destroy the world. And I'm like,
lover of love, shippers of ships. I'm obviously with you on that. Give me a classic love triangle sitch.
Yeah. And it's like, and when they get back of like, she was Nakia as her friend, when friend comes up and we have to resolve that again, I'm like, oh, that was an issue. I wish we'd spent more time on that. And then Zoe,
where's the guidance counselor, bro?
For crying out loud. And then Zoe pops up and it's like, you know how I was kind of your bully? I'm cool now. And I'm like, I forgot you were on the show. Like, I didn't even remember you were here.
And why do they do that? I don't know why. Again, I did like this show. Like, in terms of MCU shows, I like this one.
Yeah.
Because I like a lot of the things they've laid out. But like, why did we leave the stories that we built that we liked?
Yeah. And especially since a lot of that was to do world building on her powers. But then, correct me if you feel differently. Did my camera go out? Oh, I'm back now. Okay.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Hold on. I can fix this for Roxy. Hold on, everybody. Boom. There we are. Can you see me now?
I can, cool. From a really interesting angle.
It is. You can right up the nose. Sorry. And I'm going to be cheating this way because that's where my camera is. But all of that felt like kind of backstory for her origins. And then we get another explanation for her powers that don't need okay, so just the
full spoilers on this.
Full spoilers.
DJ, are we doing X-Men? Is that like what this is a nod to? Like, she's a mutant? Like,
yes, what? I think like that's. I thought because in the comic she's an Inhuman. Oh, it's so fucking complicated, Roxy, because this comes from a time when the comics were dealing with the fact that Marvel Studios didn't own the right to mutants, so they tried to make Inhumans mutants, so suddenly a bunch of Inhumans are a thing. And now it's like, now we're going back and now we're just making Kamala a mutant, and it's like, fuck, this is such a mess. And then, which wouldn't be so bad if we just stayed in Jersey and her powers are just her powers and we're telling the story about this girl, and then we find out, oh, it turns out you're a mutant. No, we spent like a third of the season going into this bangle that kind of doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah, totally. I think that this is like a little bit like Doctor Strange with our appearance from Patrick Stewart. How I almost just called him William Shatner. That would have been. What the fuck's his name?
Yeah. You're not completely. Off
when William Shatner showed up.
Dude, but honestly, how fucking hilarious would it be if they had William Shatner play Professor X in Doctor Strange?
That would have been so great, actually. I kind of wish that's what happened. But, I think Comic-Con is, by the time that some people are seeing this, or I guess if you're listening now, Comic-Con's in a few days.
Yeah.
We know we're getting Marvel announcements. A lot of people are predicting something to do with Fantastic Four. A lot of people are predicting something to do with the X-Men or we're gearing up to a place where I was like, okay, why did this show start when it started, ended when it ended? Maybe something's going on. There's some greater something.
Yeah. Speaking of, I totally agree. Speaking of the after credit scene, I'm hoping that you might help me understand what the fuck is supposed to have happened in the post credit scene with Carol Danvers.
Oh my god, I didn't see what. I don't know what you're talking about.
Damn it. I don't.
There was
go
a
ahead.
there was a after credit scene.
Yeah. So Kamala is in her room in the chat. Help me understand what's going on. Kamala's in a room. She's playing with the bangle. Some weird shenanigans happen, and suddenly she falls in her closet, and Carol Danvers pops out. And she looks around the room and sees all the Captain Marvel paraphernalia, and she's like, "Oh no!" So here's what makes it confusing, Roxy. Within the context of what plays out, it seems like Kamala did a body. Kamala just switched places with Carol Danvers. Now Carol Danvers has suddenly found herself in Kamala's room because she sees all the Captain Marvel stuff.
Are you being serious? Right
I'm
now,
being
DJ? You're talking to
100%
me.
serious.
Where was I?
I don't know. I don't know.
Why didn't I see anybody talking about this?
Maybe because they don't want to spoil it. I've saw some people talking about it. But so the confusing part is in the comics because Kamala's powers are shape-shifting, essentially. When she first gets her powers, she shapeshifts into Captain Marvel. And so that's where some of the confusion comes in. It's like, are we supposed to understand she shapeshifted into Captain Marvel or she switched places with Captain Marvel? What are we supposed to have understood is happening here? And how does it possibly connect to the Marvels in any way? It's confusing.
I think I'm gonna have to watch it in order to.
Yes, I also think you're going to have to watch it because having watched it, it is confusing on its own.
Confusing, like good?
No.
Or no? Okay.
Just confusing.
Okay.
Glenn Caesar says Kamala.
What are the people saying? Yeah.
Kamala and Carol Danvers swap places through whatever her powers are. And Leonard Kim agrees. That's my interpretation. They swapped places. That's weird. Sure. If that's a view, we get a look at what might be Carol Danvers' new version of her costume, and it looks cool. I'm very excited to see those characters interact. I think you touched on a thing that still works about the MCU right now. And it was always, I think, the driving force is the characters. The characters. I like Miss Marvel. I like Haley Steinfeld's Hawkeye. I don't necessarily like the shows that they're in, but I like those characters and want to see them in more things. And
Totally.
I think maybe, and I think this might have hurt Thor: Love and Thunder too. It's like, yeah, maybe you don't need the big cosmic threats. Maybe you just need these characters in situations where they get to be themselves and we care about them. Because it feels like as far as plot stuff goes, you're kind of dropping the ball. Character stuff, I still like the characters.
What's better? And neither of these is ideal. To like a show and dislike its characters, or to dislike a show and like its characters?
I think you're right. Neither is ideal. I think the answer for the MCU, and which is why they're doing what they're doing, is it's more important, considering how connected everything is, and it's more important to like the characters. Because each individual piece is less important than the superstructure.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I guess if it has to be one or the other, okay. And I think that honestly, in a weird way, the thing that proves that the most is the Thor franchise.
Yeah.
Because, like, certainly those first two movies were rough, especially fucking Dark World.
Yeah.
But we always liked Thor. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, we can do something with this.
Yeah. It's exactly, and I think my concern is it's feeling more and more in Phase 4. That's not always the case, but it kind of overall feels that way. Maybe it's more with the Disney Plus shows. That's the only thing holding these things together. It's like, well, I like this person in this role, like, you know what I mean? Like the shows themselves kind of don't hold together in any way. And I think you're the only person that would agree with me on this. I think that still the most cohesive feeling show is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I think that you and I both agree on that. Cohesive. Loki, no. Miss Marvel, I guess cohesive, yeah.
Well, but again, with those 2 episodes where we went to Pakistan, it's like, what are we doing? What's that going on?
What are the even WandaVision? No.
It's WandaVision.
What am I missing?
WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Was Loki next?
I don't know.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Miss
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But last thing.
The most cohesive show is Jessica Jones. So
boom, bingo, there it is. Yeah, they do kind of make me. They do kind of make me look back at the Netflix shows with more rose-colored glasses. Like at least the Netflix shows got this part right. You know what I mean? Leonard Kim says, with the introduction of mutants, do you think they will be introduced gradually over time or in one major project and then be further expanded upon? So do you think we're going to keep like, we have a version of Professor X and Doctor Strange, we have Kamal as a mutant, so we're going to piecemeal it out and then do an X-Men, or do you think we're going to boom? And obviously in a couple of days we'll probably know the answer to this. But
wow, I don't know. I could see it going either way. Because do you have strong thoughts on that, DJ? Because I can try to assess as I go, but honestly, I could see it either way. So I'm not sure.
Similarly, I feel like I in some ways I feel like based on the Marvel formula, piecemealing it out first. Do we know who is the actress from I May Destroy You? Is the actress named Michaela Cole? Is that her name?
Yep.
I know. I think she's supposed to be in Wakanda Forever, and we don't know who yet. But it's like it would make sense to me. It's like, okay, we introduce Storm in a Black Panther movie. We introduce Wolverine in a da-da-da. You know what I mean? We kind of like introduce some of these characters and then bring them together for X-Men.
Spider-Man, we introduced elsewhere before. Like we've seen them do this in Marvel. They're not foreign to the concept. I mean, I think that who's going to be the first big, is it going to be Wolverine? Like what is our first big thing that we're doing with the X-Men? It
depends. If they do Storm, and I have no reason to think they're going to, but if they do Storm,
where's that coming from?
I think Michaela Cole's cast in it, and people have speculated. Storm is connected to Black Panther, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that she would show up in a Black Panther movie.
Yep, that's true. That's definitely true.
I'm hoping we do something in Comic-Con, because obviously we're starting to get bits and pieces of Wakanda Forever, and it's like, there's got to be a Black Panther in the movie, right? Whether it's Letitia Wright's character or somebody, we can't market a Black Panther movie without somebody in the role of Black Panther, right?
What happened with the wasn't there some crazy Wakanda Forever delays, partially because of Letitia Wright with the anti-vax stuff?
I don't know that it was confirmed that it was because of her, but that was some of the speculation. There were definitely delays. Some of the speculation was because of her anti-vax stuff, but I don't know for mine that was confirmed that it was because of that.
Was there rewrite shit going on? Like I'm not sure. My answer to your question is I actually absolutely do think that there is a possibility there's no Black Panther. I'm not saying that's the possibility that I would choose, but I do think that is a strong possibility. Yes.
Yeah, I guess so. That seems so weird to me. I guess because it just bums me out that there's so much focus on Namor, and it's like that's cool, but it's a Black Panther movie. I
think that very much so on purpose, though. This is a Wakanda movie.
Yeah, I guess so. And fortunately. It feels weird to say fortunately the supporting cast in Black Panther is so strong,
right?
So A+ good.
Although you saw the thing about Daniel Kaluuya, right?
Is he not going to be in it?
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me. He didn't seem very happy. He didn't seem happy with the role he was in that movie, because that movie like filmed and then he blew up, and then it was you know what I mean, like.
But he said he was. I think I read that he was approached to do it but couldn't because of Nope.
If I were him, that is also the call I would make.
No, of course, but just wondering then, like, what story were they trying to tell?
I don't know. Yeah. I can't imagine with everything going on. I can't imagine his character would be a big part of it.
Yeah.
Weird. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. I would like there to be a Black Panther personally, but
do you think we're gonna get any Michael B. Jordan flashback? Anything?
Honestly, no. I don't think so. If it were me, I would just say his character's not dead. I would retcon that. I was like, hey, guess what? You're not dead. You're Black Panther now. Because for two reasons. One, so many people were great in that movie, but he was clearly a highlight. Killmonger was a major part of that movie. Michael B. Jordan is great in everything. And just from
a true star.
A true A+ star.
Yeah.
And from a nitpicky plot stuff, he took the plant you're supposed to eat to become Black Panther, he took it and then burned the rest.
Yeah.
So I think from a logistical perspective, from a plot perspective, from just a let's make money perspective, it's like, yeah, he's our Black Panther now. That's what I would do. That would be my instinct.
I definitely hear you. And I think that that's not what they're doing, but I think that that absolutely would have worked. And the other perspective coming from is that I feel like Chadwick Boseman would have been super down with that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it would, I don't know. It's like a nice that they know each other. It's just so weird to think that we could have a Black Panther that like Chadwick Boseman didn't even know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And my other choice would be actually, I know in the comics, Shuri becomes Black Panther. My other choice would be Nakia, because I think as far as the characters that were introduced in the movie, Nakia becoming Black Panther makes more sense.
Nyong'o.
Yeah, she makes more sense. Like, she was already doing Black Panther shit. Like Shuri didn't strike me as a character that would want to be Black Panther, and there's dramatic tension in that. There's something in there. I just think Nakia makes more sense to me, and also Lupita Nyong'o is also a star. So you know what I mean? Like, anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Miss Marvel, and I think where we landed on is that we don't know how they're going to roll out the mutants. I think it's going to be a few more hints here and there, maybe in Wakanda Forever, maybe in a Fantastic Four movie, and then we'll get our X-Men movie. So it'll be kind of be a little bit of both. I do think the big one, you asked me like what the big one is. I think the big question mark is, who do we do? Who's Wolverine, right? That's got to be the like...
what the fuck was the one? Oh, Taron Egerton, right? That's who everybody's saying is going to be.
Does that seem
is
like
it Egerton or Edgerton?
I think it is Edgerton. Because Joel Edgerton is pronounced Edgerton, so I think that's the thing. Does that seem like a good casting for Wolverine to you, Roxy? I know that's what people are saying.
I do think so.
Okay, yeah, based on what? Maybe I haven't, because I've only seen him in Kingsman. I'm like, no.
I saw him a bit in that new show, the Black
Swan,
Crow,
the new, is that the new Apple Plus show?
Yeah. What was I watching? Was it on in the background or something? Has it even come out yet, or did I?
I think it has come out. I do think it has come out. Yeah.
So I saw like 5 minutes of something, and I was like, oh yeah. And then I think in Kingsman too, but just in general, like he looks like Wolverine to me.
I guess he's just too young for me. I feel like I want somebody a little bit more old and grizzled. I've said it before.
I don't think that's what they're doing though. I don't.
I guess so. You want that sweet?
I don't think that there's any chance that we're getting a Wolverine older than 35.
But I guess maybe want somebody that projects older. Again, my vote was Brett Goldstein. Spoilers for Thor. He's Hercules. So that's not, which is great. I'm cool with that too. But
he's also tall, right?
Brett? I don't think so. Is he? I thought he was on the shorter side. He's shorter than Jason Sudeikis, I think.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Huh. I just know how much the short king community
wants a short. Yeah, and I'm down for that too. But I also think I would like that. But also I want somebody that like is Wolverine, like projects.
I think Tom Hardy is such a and Jake Gyllenhaal were both such like great selections that we had heard early on that it's kind of hard to give those up.
Yeah, Tom Hardy would have been great before Venom. Like if you could have gotten him in there before Venom.
Perfect. At this point, no. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like in my head, I'm
100%. I 100% agree. I'll also say, based on people Wolverine tends to be connected to, obviously it'd be great to get a Canadian actor, but if you could get somebody of Japanese descent or somebody of indigenous descent, Wolverine tends to be connected with people of those backgrounds a lot, and he is white.
Who's your number one pick? Do you have one?
Again, it probably would have been somebody like either a complete unknown, somebody I haven't heard of, or somebody like Brett Goldstein, because he's kind of shorter than most
now,
guys.
Who's your number one?
I don't have one now, Roxy. I don't have one. They took him from me.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I think Taryn would do a really good job. I think that I'm with you. I really like the possibility of an unknown for Wolverine, specifically because I think that there's a lot to chew on there. And like when you have to audition for something, you usually audition your tits off for it. And typically unless it's a situation like Solo, where the audition process is very weird because you have to embody a very specific kind of person. Sometimes that goes wrong.
Yeah.
Typically, if you are an unknown and you audition for somebody like Wolverine, you're probably like, whoa, talented.
Yeah.
So I think that would be cool, but
And I do think Hugh Jackman gave whoever the next Wolverine is some gifts, because one, whoever the next Wolverine is has never been a part of the MCU. That's a benefit. We never saw Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in the classic costume. That's something that they can do in the MCU that we haven't done before. And also, I think the MCU is in a position to maybe start Wolverine as more of a background character, which I think I love Hugh Jackman. I think he did a good Wolverine. His Wolverine's a little too clean for me. I like my Wolverine a little bit more rough around the edges. A Wolverine that's like maybe 1 or 2 steps away from being a bad guy. And I think that's something they could do here really well. I don't know. I don't know, but I think you know who else would be a good choice as far as acting chops is the guy playing Master Chief in Halo. The problem with that everybody would get mad at me about is he's a tall boy. I think he is like an inch or two shorter than I am.
What's his name?
He's a I'm gonna have to look it up. Sorry, Roxy.
I'll look while you're talking. No worries.
I just think
he's playing Master. Oh, you're talking about Pablo Schreiber?
Pablo Schreiber, I think, would do a good job. He's again
so good.
He's too tall for the people that want a short one. He's a tall boy, but he's got the vibe. He's got the right vibe.
I think that he's really good. I don't see it. Did you watch Orange Is the New Black?
No.
Okay, bummer.
My association with him is Halo, and he was also in American Gods, and he was excellent in both of those. He was also in with The Wire. I think he was in season 2 of The Wire. Great in that too.
All right, so you know who would be interesting is Luke Evans.
Sure, people were speculating him for Hercules, and I also think that would have been a good call.
But we had already seen him in those plays.
Was he in the plays?
That's him, right?
Which him? Which one? Which one are you thinking?
With Matt Damon, it's Luke Evans.
No, it's another Hemsworth. It's one of the other Hemsworth brothers.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, not. So I meant Luke Hemsworth. I don't mean Luke Evans. I don't know who Luke Evans even is.
Luke Evans is. He was in that Dracula movie. He plays. He's good. He's really good. He might be a little.
I have no idea who that is. I meant Luke Hemsworth.
Got it.
I was like, what am I missing here? Wow, that's funny. What if Luke Evans was Chris Evans' brother? That would be wild. This list says just yes or no from you on these people.
Okay.
Carl Urban.
He is specific. Yeah, 100% yes. I love Carl Urban. I think he'd be great at it. He's pointed out, I think correctly, that he's too old for the role.
Charlie
he's 50.
Hunnam.
He's 50.
Charlie Hunnam.
Wait. Charlie Hunnam?
Yeah, that's
actually, yeah. I would. This might surprise you, Roxy, because you watched Sons of Anarchy, right?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't. I saw him in Lost City of Zed, which he is incredible in. Really? I actually think he'd be a really, really perfect John Constantine. I think he would nail the fuck out of a John Constantine. But yes, also Wolverine. I think he's a good actor that has not been able to shine in a lot of mainstream movies yet. And I'm all for that.
What about? Let's see. I don't know who this person is. Daphne Keane is X-23. I didn't know her name.
Yes.
How would she be?
Because X-23 is Wolverine. It was Wolverine for a minute in the comics. She's great, but also I would like to see Logan in the MCU. I want to see Wolverine hang out with Spider-Man. Everybody, give me that.
What do you think about Daniel Radcliffe?
I like Daniel Radcliffe. I don't know that and I think he's very talented. I don't know. My instinct is to say no. What about you, Roxy?
I think it could work, actually. What do you think about Scott Eastwood?
Maybe. Maybe.
What do you think about Momoa? That'd be weird. Scott Conn. Do you know who that is?
Momoa. Was that Jason Momoa?
Yeah.
I think Jason Momoa would be a great Sabretooth. I think he'd do great as a villain. Anyway, what was it?
This says John Boyega. That would be
sure.
I feel like John Boyega is like, no, thank you, Disney.
I do think if I were Disney, I would do everything in my power. If I were like Marvel, I actually think John Boyega would be a really good Scott Summers Cyclops. I also think I think it'd be good to have John Boyega lead an X-Men movie, and I know Disney would have to jump through some hoops to do that, but I think it's worth that for multiple reasons.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is on a lot of lists.
But he was already Quicksilver.
John Bernthal's on a lot of lists.
Yes, John Bernthal 100. Okay, Roxy, you asked me my pick. If we're not going to do anything with Punisher, if we're done with Punisher Netflix, I actually think John Bernthal would be an excellent Wolverine. Specifically, there's a movie, and I can't remember the name, but there's a movie where he had like the Wolverine hair, like he had it kind of like went out that way. I think he'd be really good at it.
I am looking at Luke Evans right now. I cannot say that I'm confident that I've ever seen this man. He is so beautiful.
He's a handsome boy.
He's a handsome boy.
Handsome boy. He's a handsome boy.
He's my new pick.
Yeah.
Yep, just Luke Evans, everybody.
Yeah. Let's get Luke Evans in there. He was in that new Hulu show.
DJ.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the bear, bro.
Dude, we do have to talk about the bear. Oh yeah, we're running out of time. Real quick. Only Murders in the Building. This was another episode I liked.
What happened this episode?
This episode, the main thing that's happened
we find out the hallway, the secret hallway,
which is a lot creepier than they reacted to it being. They're like, oh, this is weird. I'm like,
what the actual fuck? Yeah. I was like, people are watching you. They're like, oh, so what have you been doing when you're like, everything, bro, everything. So
specifically, Selena Gomez's character should have been like, oh, this is really bad.
Yes. What's up with that daughter? Are you sketched out by the fact that she knew about this place or no?
No, my big takeaway with her is I think the actress's name is Zoe Colletti. I think she's great, and I was bummed to see her leave at the end of the episode. I'm like, no, she's great. Keep her around. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Yeah, I really like her too. I did think it was interesting her obsession with Selena Gomez.
I feel like that was like a real like a nod to Selena
I was like,
Gomez.
Oh my god, this is Selena Gomez. I think that the show's picking up, which is good. Mm-hmm. And a lot of different options and people. It could be the secret passage. I was like, what the fuck? Like when she found it in the bathroom too, I'm just like, the show is taking interesting turns. How it's like there's that weird elevator that goes to the back out, and there's this thing, and it's like making me want to look around my apartment and figure out like what are my access points, you know?
Yeah.
But I enjoyed this episode, yeah.
I also like the acknowledgement. I actually think this show does better than a lot of other shows, the generational comedy. And I like the acknowledgement of like, of course there's a generational gap between Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez. But because of how quickly things turn around, there's probably within the show like a 10-year difference between Lucy and Selena Gomez's character. But that's enough to be like, even Selena Gomez is like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying. I don't know. Because it's like, totally. I don't know if you feel the same way, but when I interact with somebody like just 5 to 10 years younger, I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Does she say like adults?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's like, yeah, totally. Sometimes even like my sister's 5 years younger, and sometimes her friends will be talking, and I'm like, is this English? Because I genuinely don't know what you're saying.
What is happening?
What language are you guys speaking? Because it's not a language that I know.
Yeah, good joke. Appreciate it. I like that actress. I like that character. I hope they bring her back. Let's talk about the bear. As I mentioned earlier, Roxy, I'm glad you watched this because as I was watching, I was like, I need to talk to Roxy about that. I need to know Roxy's opinion on this.
Why did you and I both watch this show this week? Just because it's so popular?
Yeah, probably so popular. I was on Lon's Binge Boys podcast and they were talking about it. And so by that episode, I watched maybe the first 4. And here's where I settle on the show. I think it is incredibly well acted. I think it is beautifully shot. I think it's a really really good put together show that I don't particularly enjoy watching. And I think I don't know if it's because it's a lot of just characters yelling at each other a lot. Like it's just, but I think for me, and this was the one, have you watched the whole show?
Yeah.
Great. Because I think for me, when I finally settled on this was in the second to last episode, which I believe the entire episode's like a one take in the kitchen, right? It's the one where the 7th episode.
Yeah. It was a one shot. It was that was only 17 minutes long, but it was like.
Yeah. So again, A plus acting, the single take, great.
You didn't do Shameless, right?
I have not done Shameless.
So Jeremy Allen White is my favorite character on Shameless. He played Lip.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and he's like a true stud. He's so good on the show that he's like one of my top celebrity crushes because he's just like
Understandable.
so talented and just it shines through. That show it takes place on the south side of Chicago. This show is a Chicago show, which feels a little bizarro. Like, why is this show in Chicago when Jeremy Allen White and the other star who's from Girls, they both very clearly have East Coast accents. And I was like, I wonder why this show isn't taking place on the East Coast or anywhere else, like random town anywhere.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jeremy Allen White must have wanted to like stay in Chicago or something.
Yeah, maybe he's got like a place there because of Shameless, and he's like,
I was just here the last 10 years. Like, I think he's now like has a family. I'm sure he was like, I don't want to uproot anybody. Like, why is this show in Chicago? What were you thinking about?
I didn't think about that. I did think I saw a tweet thread from somebody, and I wish I had it in front of me, that they were kind of talking about like how this show is very specifically told from like kind of like an upper class view of Chicago, and how it doesn't really vibe with what they're trying to depict doesn't really mesh well. And I don't know if that's part of it, because I do think part of the show is like, I don't know what I'm rooting for. Am I rooting for them to make this like a bougie upper class restaurant? Because I don't personally want that. I'd rather this stay in a hole. I mean, get more organized. It seems like you're all stressed out all the time, but I would rather this stay a hole in the wall. I don't, you know what I mean? Personally, my personal.
It's super confusing how in the first or second episode, he's like, I'm making sandwiches. And I'm like, wait a second. Is this a sub shop? Why is it like this in here?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? You're making sandwiches.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Because he tries to introduce like the way a high-end restaurant works. And it's like, bro, that's not what this place is. And I personally don't know if I want it to be that. I don't like bougie high-end restaurants. You know what I mean?
But I did like that by the end of is it full spoiler or no?
Full spoiler. Yes, full spoilers, everybody. Sorry if you haven't watched The Bear. I really like it by the end that we are changing restaurants, because it didn't make sense. Okay,
you know?
So that confused me, because they find, spoilers for The Bear, they find in the tomato stuff money.
That's the confusing part to me. I don't understand when they said like, oh, but he owed these people money. He was paying this. What does this mean on the sheet of paper?
He owes like a crime boss money. Why are we starting a new restaurant? Why aren't we using that money to pay off the crime boss?
I think they are. I think they are using that money to pay off the crime boss.
Yeah,
was what I gathered. And they have enough to. But what I didn't understand was, why didn't the brother pay off the crime boss if he had all the money?
Good question.
Like, I thought he didn't pay him because he didn't have the money.
Yeah, because in that same episode, we established that he's been withdrawing money that's the same amount that he owes the boss. So I was assuming that's the money that's in the cans, is to pay the boss.
But instead, he was putting them in the cans.
Why? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, like, technical issue, like, question. How are you getting the money in the sauce, bro?
Are you recanning? Do you have a cannery in?
Do you have a can? Yeah. How are you doing this, bro? Like, or is it coming to you that way? Is somebody else sending you?
Is there a bigger crime boss? Are you sneaking in a crime show into your cooking show?
Yeah, because that may be like, are you putting the money in the cans, or what actually is happening here?
Yeah.
I was confused. I really like this show in terms of like watching it. Felt like, wow, this is good TV.
Yeah.
I like these characters. This is cool, especially the fucking girl chef that is the young one.
Yeah, Ayo Edebiri is the actor. She plays Sydney.
What's her name? Ayo Edebiri?
On IMDb, my stupid pronunciation is Edebiri, is what it looks like it's pronounced. Okay. I do apologize because I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, and I apologize.
The girl that plays Sydney is like clearly a breakout star from the show. She's so fucking good.
Yeah.
But also, I love all of them. Like the dude with the donuts, the girl with that's like annoyed at first with Sydney, but then like kind of all of them are the actors on the show are really talented. The guy from Girls, that's the cousin. That whole cousin bit cracks me up. Like
Richie, he played Micro in the first season of Punisher.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
All of them are super good. I like being in a kitchen. It gives us like almost like a workplace drama, which is cool, but with action steps. But I actually, after a full season of the show, I actually don't know what the show is.
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's the one, especially since like we just introduced, it was like a superhero name reveal. It's like, this is the bear now. It's like, oh, that's why this show is called The Bear. Okay. I think for me, what stands out is that, like, again, they're so incredible. Like Evan Moss Backrack as Richie is great. And Ao Edebiri as Sydney is so talented, but I kind of can't stand either of their characters. Like, I can't, specifically. And again, I go to that 7th episode because I can't. And again, I don't know. I think for me, when you say you don't know what the show is, I think for me, the way that translates as I don't know what the show wants me to be rooting for, because the way the show treats Carmy, Jeremy Allen White's character, is as if he's like a house.
What's his name?
The character's name is Carmen Berzado.
Oh, Carmen. I think it's like Carney. I was like, I don't remember.
They call him Carmy in the show.
Yeah.
They treat him as if it's like he's an asshole, but he's a genius. So we tolerate him because he's a genius. But it's like he's not an asshole though. Like the emotional crux of that 7th episode is them saying he's an asshole. But it's like, but I don't. And this is what I want to talk to you about, because I don't know if this is a me thing, Roxy. I watched that episode. And it feels like he very clearly lays out what they need to accomplish today. We are doing to-go orders. This is our big thing. I need everybody on board. And then it shits the bed. And then everybody around him decides now is the right time to throw a fit. And so he loses his temper. And I'm not saying, like, when he throws the donut on the ground, I'm not saying he should have done that. I'm not saying he should have raised his voice. But everybody treats it like he's the only one that did something bad. And it's like, my guy, I love that you're doing the donuts. I told you, now is not the fucking time.
I wanted to murder the donut dude.
Yeah, and
like,
but it feels like
a job. First of all, before the donuts, even the cake, that wasn't his job.
Yeah.
You work, like, you have a boss. You work in a kitchen. You can't just decide you're the dessert dude.
Yes, but the show treats it as if Carmen's the bad guy, and it's like, well, no, again, he shouldn't have lost his temper, but like Sydney in that is like. And Richie's an asshole. Richie's a repellent character. Great actor in an interesting role, but it's not a person I'd want to hang out with. But when like Sydney rips into him, it's like, this is probably why your kid hates you and shit. It's like, wait, do you want me rooting for this girl? Because this is fucked up. Like, I know Richie's a pain in the ass, and I'm not rooting for Richie, but this is too far. And then she quits, and it's like, my lady, you're the one that wanted us to do this. This is your bomb that you dropped on the rest of us, and you're leaving?
The way that I disagreed with her so wholeheartedly in this, but still loved her, but it was like she's young and green. Like, the way when she quit, first of all, she stabbed somebody.
She did stab somebody.
I mean, let's just take a second.
Yeah.
She stabbed somebody.
He needed stitches.
She stabbed him with a knife for not saying corners. Mm-hmm. Like, you did that. Then she implemented a system that she couldn't handle. And then he has to apologize to her. And I was just like, I guess that is life sometime. It's realistic that the wrong person apologized. But they both owed each other a...
Okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy for thinking... Because when we got to the finale, I'm like, yeah, he should apologize. But she also... She
stabs DJ. She stabs
him. She could meet him halfway here. Like, we're treating it like Carmen's the bad guy, and he's actually been pretty understanding of everybody this entire time. He loses his temper once, and we decide he's a monster.
But, okay, rewinding for a second though, DJ, did you like the show?
That's the thing. I think it's I liked the performances. I thought it looked
would
good.
you watch season 2?
What a good question that I'm having such a hard time answering. Yes, but I don't know that I'd be excited to. Does that make sense? I don't know that I enjoy it.
It's like you would want to tune in to see what's up, but you're not sure that you're like yoked on it.
They're making a good show. I just don't really enjoy watching it.
Yeah. I think that I definitely would watch. I really am enjoying it, but I'm not saying it makes perfect sense. And I'm also a little confused. And also, I guess those are two of the same things.
Yeah.
And also feel like season 2 could either be great and they figured it out, or like they give us no answers and it's like, no, you have to explain why the money's in the fucking can.
But I co-sign Jeremy Allen White. I now also have a crush on him. So
oh my God.
How could you not?
He's so great. I was watching with one of my girlfriends and she was like, I don't get it. And I was like, then you have No pulse.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I watching it's like, yeah, this guy should, especially in the final episode when he's doing his monologue about his brother. It's like, yeah, this guy should be in movies. Why isn't this guy a movie star?
This is how I know. This is what I do, DJ. I look up, is this person married? As if otherwise I have an in, you know? And I was like, man, he's really happily with his girlfriend. All right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Before we go, we need to wrap up. There are 2 bachelorettes.
Yeah, DJ, there are 2 bachelorettes, bro. Get on board.
Do we?
And I really like both of them.
Great. And we like that it's 2 bachelorettes.
Yeah, here's my reality TV roundup for you.
Yeah.
I love that it's 2 bachelorettes. It had the lowest opening rating of any Bachelor season. I think that might partially be because of Chris Harrison being gone.
Okay.
It might be because everything's on streaming now, and this is really hurting for being on ABC. It might be because these 2 bachelorettes were the least controversial that we've had. They both seemingly were like really nice girls who got their heart broken by Clayton after saying he loved them.
Okay.
Really like it. We'll see how it goes. On the other hand, Big Brother, which you know is my favorite reality show, racist.
Again,
God, bro,
damn it.
again.
God
and I'm
damn
like,
it.
oh my God, what is up? Like, come on. I'll update you more on that the next show. But like, this one girl just starts an all-out war. There's one black girl on this show who is like a pageant girl, really smart, beautiful, really sweet, doing no harm to anybody, comes in the house, bubbly and kind. And then there's this one girl, her name's Paloma, who's like, we must get her.
Oh my God.
She is evil. We cannot let her exist. I've got to turn all the girls against her. Nobody speak to her. Nobody acknowledge her. This girl's got to go. And it's like, what's wrong with you? Who are you?
Jeez.
What? Why? Why are you doing that, bro? Why?
I'm rooting for you every season, Roxy, that Big Brother will not be racist.
Oh my God. It's like some of the years it's the best show to watch because it's not racist. And then some years I want to off myself watching it because it is racist. Why is it like the only show like this where they can't? I heard this season they did like sensitivity training and all these things and still.
We can't escape. I want to thank Glenn Caesar is watching Miss Marvel, MLB, The Summer I Turned Pretty. Gonna watch Old Man, please, and RR this weekend. Thank you, Glenn. You'll be happy. Kim Marie, I just finished Hacks. DJ, you'd love it. Leonard Kim is watching Miss. He says Miss Marvel, for as fantastic as it was, needed more episodes in my opinion. I'm okay with leaving Jersey for Pakistan, but then I would have wanted more show. That makes sense. Cool. And they're talking about Miss Marvel being a mutant. So that is us. That is it for us this week. What we're into, if we drop this as our normal Patreon episode as a little taste, or as our normal podcast episode as a little taste of what's on the Patreon. If you want to hear Roxy and I talk about the Marvel shows, talk about reality TV, talk about stuff like The Bear, you can do that over patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. Roxy, where can the kids find you?
You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Stryer, and I have this new show that I've been doing on Callin, Callin, like you're calling into something, call in. And I talk all entertainment roundup stuff where I break down the Emmys or, Chris Hemsworth not eating meat before kissing Natalie Portman because she was vegan. So really important stories like that.
Please go support that. Thank you for listening, and we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.